All right, gang, let's dive right into it. Welcome to another edition of Webinar Wednesday, tips to help grow your online community. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. I am Jason there on the left, and we are lucky to be joined by David Rockland, the digital strategist here at Brilliant Directories. David, thanks for taking the time to join us today.
Hey everybody, welcome to webinar 138. Super excited for the tip of the week that we have coming up here.
Awesome. Yeah, really fun tip of the week. Kind of gets, I'd say it's intermediate level, but I think it could add a lot of value to your sites. If you want to subscribe to our YouTube channel, we definitely recommend you go to brilliantdirectories.com/YouTube and click on that red subscribe button. You'll stay updated with our newest tutorials, videos, feature releases, and more, as well as the webinar replays. And one of the benefits of streaming live on YouTube right now is we can share a link in the Facebook group immediately after the webinar is completed. So if you wanted to rewatch something or we went over something a little too quickly, you can go to brilliantdirectories.com/Facebook. Join that Facebook group, all are welcome, and after the webinar, we will post a link to the instant replay. There are a lot of constructive conversations and discussions in there. I'm in there myself, and it's a great way to stay in touch in between Webinar Wednesdays. So if you have a moment, go ahead and click on over to brilliantdirectories.com/Facebook. And we do see a handful of new names and faces out there. So guys, welcome to Webinar Wednesday. You are among friends here. Webinar Wednesdays is really a great way for us to share some of the newer features built into the platform week after week. We generally have the webinars twice a month, so about every 2 weeks. And we like to cover topics with some of the features that can help you increase your website traffic, which actually the tip of the week does help with that today. Converting visitors into members, improving your website's navigation. That's one of the things I think is the most important. And any of these topics here to help grow and promote the growth basically of your community website. So if you have questions on your membership site or any of these topics here, please save them. We will try our best to get to as many questions as we can within the hour. Okay, and we have some BD Lab updates. We don't have any newly released features in the last week. We do, but they're not really noteworthy for the webinar. They're really small patches and fixes to just keep the software humming and purring nice and smoothly. Shout out to the BD community. Your support tickets and inquiries, you may find something or discover something, and usually we'll prioritize things on the platform that need to be fixed with regards to speed, security, and just keeping the software working as expected. But we do have some upcoming features. I do want to just roll call down this list real quick. These are some things coming in the upcoming weeks and in the months ahead. The ability to instantly sync your smart lists as webhooks. So what that means is you have the ability to create segmented smart lists. Maybe those are all your active members in the state of California. With this update that's coming down the line, you'll be able to immediately send that contact list to other platforms such as Mailchimp, Constant Contact, another CRM that you use, and you'll be able to do it in just one click. So we're excited with that ability to sync your smart lists as a webhook to those third-party platforms. Along with that, and we've been mentioning this in previous webinars, and it should be coming in July, at latest at the beginning of August, the ability to import data feeds into your BD site via an API we're creating, as well as webhooks. So over the last 6 to 8 months, we've spent a lot of time sending and porting your BD data out as webhooks and data into solutions such as Pabbly or Zapier or Integrately. We're working on the opposite of that, being able to import data feeds. We're going to start with member data, and then we'll be moving along to reviews, leads, and other types of data such as posts and things like that. And we covered this in the previous webinar. We're overhauling actually the domain manager, the page where you connect your custom domain name to your site. It's really going to be an area where you can check the health of your domain name. And part of that is going to be an email deliverability section. It's going to make sure that your domain is connected properly. Your email is authenticated to ensure that you get maximum deliverability and fewer emails fall into the spam folder of your members when they're sent out. Most of this will be automatic, so you really don't need to do anything. It'll just provide you with a pulse And more importantly, if there is an issue, it will allow you and our support team to more quickly troubleshoot any issues that may arise with your emails, your domain connection, your SSL, and more. And also something we covered in the previous webinar, a new workflow to send and schedule email newsletters. This is also going to be an overhaul. We're expecting this to be released in August, but it's going to add a wealth of functionality to sending and scheduling email blasts to bulk members to your smart list, however you choose to send out your newsletters. In addition to that, we're always pushing updates for security, small patches, and tons more. And just a round of applause and thank you to you guys. Your suggestions, your feedback, your support tickets, they just help make the platform better for everyone. So thank you guys so much. All right, and with that, breezing through the BD Lab updates, we wanted to do one of the tip of the weeks. We talk so much about these webhooks, and we get a lot of questions in the Facebook group and support tickets if certain things are possible. And one thing that comes up from time to time is being able to send text messages and alerts and notifications to your members for certain actions that are taken on the site. So we wanted to focus this tip of the week, and David's done an amazing job putting together these slides. We can review them in just a moment, but we're going to focus this tip of the week on how to send text message notifications when your members receive new reviews on their profile pages. And if it's all right with you, David, I'd like to pass over the controls and you can take it from here for us.
Absolutely. Thank you. So we started talking about webhooks and what you can do with Zapier and other webhook platforms like Pabbly a few months ago now. The first kind of webinar segment that we did on this was integrating Mailchimp. And so with this one, a really useful and exciting feature is being able to send text message notifications to your members. In this specific case, when they receive new reviews. So before we get into all the nitty-gritty details regarding that, some basic overview first about Zapier integrations and webhooks in general. So what can you do right now when it comes to webhooks and how they relate to Zapier? So right now you can send data from forms on your Brilliant Directories website out to third-party platforms via webhooks and via platforms like Zapier. So this includes new member signups, when somebody signs up to your newsletter, if somebody submits the contact form on your website, or anytime new leads or member reviews are submitted on your website, as well as whenever somebody submits any custom form that you may have on your website. So the main theme here is when somebody submits some type of form on your website, you can capture that data and send it out using webhooks to a third-party platform to handle that data and information in some sort of other way. Now, phase two, we talked about this when we first started talking about webhooks a few months ago. This is coming very soon, where we can see the light at the end of the tunnel here. But phase two, you'll actually be able to receive data into your Brilliant Directories website from third-party platforms. So right now, you can take data from your BD site and export it to third-party platforms. Coming soon, you'll actually be able to bring data in to your Brilliant Directories website from third-party platforms.
Yeah, and actually, I think a good share here, David, let me go to the Brilliant Directories blog. What we can do is we've done previous webinars on connecting Zapier and Pabbly. Let me share those links if somebody wanted to watch them after the webinar. Let's look at Pabbly first. Okay, so in this webinar here, Pabbly and Gmail, how to create or make a drip email sequence to welcome new members. This one was really cool. And there was another one we did when we first did our integrations with Zapier. Here's one, how to sync your Brilliant Directories data with Mailchimp. So the tip of the week today is covering another use case for webhooks, but let me share these two previously covered topics. And these are just examples. There's over 3,000 connections you can do with tools like Zapier and Pabbly. So these are just a small sample of things that you can do.
Excellent. So the benefits when it comes to SMS or text message notifications. So first, what happens now by default when your members receive a new review? Well, first, they can receive new reviews, and those new reviews, once approved either by the members or by you, the website admin, will then display on that member's profile page on your website. And when the member does receive a new review, they'll be notified via email that they've received a new review, and they're prompted to log in to view the review. Or if your website has the reply to member reviews add-on, the member can actually reply to any reviews that have been left for them on their profile. Now, where do the benefits come into play when it comes to SMS alerts and text message notifications? Well, through webhooks and the Zapier integration, we'll be using, and we'll get more into the details here in a little bit, but we'll be using a third-party platform called Twilio. And so you'll be able to notify members actually via text message when they receive new reviews. So by doing this, the members might be more likely to actually come back to your website, log into their account, and manage or reply to their reviews. Oftentimes people, they might not check their inbox all that often. Emails, they might mistake it for something else and quickly delete it without reading it. Whereas if they're receiving a text message about something, they're more likely to actually read that text message. It'll grab their attention, and this could potentially result in more website traffic activity. And arguably, really, really important, keeping your website and community top of mind for your members, so they don't forget that they have an account on your website and that the community exists, and that we want them to stay active within our community. So a few quick things to note before we get into showing you how to get all of this set up on your Brilliant Directories website. The first thing to keep in mind, and we'll show how to do this, is that your members' phone numbers have to contain a plus and the country code of their phone number. So for example, if it's a member who has an American phone number or any North American phone number, that phone number would need to start with +1. For now, we'll need to create a widget and add it to a form. This might sound a little complicated. It's really simple the way we'll be going about doing this, and we'll show you step by step so you can follow along. Just some things to keep in mind as we're going through this process, and we'll show you the steps right after this as well. Then, as I mentioned, we'll be using a third-party platform called Twilio to actually facilitate the sending of text messages to our members. So Twilio does require us to have a paid account with them with at least a $20 balance. And each text message that's sent costs 0.79 cents. So with that $20 balance, you'll be able to send out just over 2,500 texts. So if 2,500 reviews are being submitted on your website for your members, you're probably collecting more than enough member dues and fees to pay for the Twilio service here. And then another cool thing, I'm sure pretty much all of us by this point have received some spam text notifications. And if they're following the rules and regulations, they typically end with a little note saying that you can reply with stop to unsubscribe to stop receiving text messages from that phone number. And so we'll be able to implement that in our text messages as well. So this is the basic step-by-step process that we'll be going through, kind of the recipe that we have here to be able to send text message notifications to our members when they receive new reviews on their profiles. So we've got a couple steps that we'll take on our Brilliant Directories website. First, this will be, like I mentioned, making sure that our members' phone numbers contain the plus and the country code at the beginning of their phone numbers. And then we'll also be creating that HTML widget and adding it to the write a review form so that the webhook can actually capture and fetch the member's phone number. Then on Twilio, we'll need to, like I said, create a Twilio account and make sure we add the minimum funds that Twilio requires, $20. And then on Zapier, we'll actually go ahead and create the webhook to enable the new review that's been submitted on our website. We'll capture some of that information, and then we'll shoot a text message notification over to the member, letting them know that they've just received a new review on our website and that they can log in to manage that review.
Awesome. Yeah. And actually, when we put together this tip of the week, we made a development card for our team. So you can almost omit step one, what to do on your BD site. But for now, we do need to do these two steps, making sure the phone number field is country code and phone number, and adding the HTML widget, which is just that purple text that we see there that we're going to add in there. And for your sake, you just need to copy and paste what we provide for you. I think the next slide is, let's see how this works, huh, David?
Yep, and one last thing before we dive in here, just to address a question that we got. Yeah, you could do this not just with Zapier, but with other webhook platforms, like Pabbly. It's just in this case, we'll be showing you how to do it with Zapier.
Also to that point, you don't necessarily need to use Twilio. There's lots of solutions such as TextMagic and dozens more that can facilitate the sending of SMS text messages. You can compare pricing and things like that. We saw Twilio was just really easy and plug and play kind of, so we selected that one for this webinar. However, if you're comfortable or familiar with another SMS sending platform, text message sending platform, I'm sure Zapier or Pabbly probably integrate with those as well. So in this example, let's actually start with sending a review to a member and seeing them receive that text message. And then we'll go and show you guys these steps here, what to do on your BD site in Twilio and Zapier, and take it from there. So let's go to, this is a sample members profile page on our webinar demo site. Let's go ahead and write a review for them. Also with this member, he has inputted a phone number. So this member does have a phone number. Let's actually quickly look at that in the dashboard. So if we look at the basic information, so we can see the phone number field here. So we can see the country code and phone number field, and this member has entered a phone number. We created a quick Google Voice number for this example. So what we'll do is we'll go ahead and write a review. All right, and now upon sending this review, this member would normally simply receive an email notification from the website letting them know that there is a new review that's either pending for them to accept or decline, or it's automatically accepted for them. I'll go ahead and submit the review. Now what I have here, so this review is, now I have here, here's the Google Voice number here, and we can see I just received a text message and we created this message. Congrats, your profile received a 2-star rating on my directory, which is, we choose what's here. And we created a shorter bit.ly link that links to, if you click on this, to the website, and it sends them to the account reviews or recommendations page in their member dashboard. So if they're logged into the site, it'll take them directly here. And if not, they'll be prompted with the login screen and they can log into their account to come here. But in any event, they're being sent to your website from a text message that's being sent to their smartphone in real time. So let's see how we set this up. And David, if I skip a step or go too quickly, please stop me and we can make sure that we're explaining everything as clearly as possible. So first things first, what we want to do is in the basic information tab of the member's profile page, we're all familiar with this. It asks for their first name, last name, and generally there is just a phone number field, and it's just an open text field such as all the other ones. A few weeks ago, or a month or so ago, we created a new field where members phone number field where you can select your country code plus enter your phone number. So the first step is we're going to want to change this from a regular old phone number field, which was just the plain text, to the one with the country code. So the first thing to do is go to the form manager, and this will ensure that members are entering phone numbers with their country codes. And the name of the form is listing contact details member. That's the form that's used on the basic information tab. Some people have cloned this and use different forms for different membership plans, but this is the default and standard one. I will share a link to this in the chat, and we'll include all this in the blog post with the webinar replay as well. So when we edit this, what you can do quickly is just use this filter and search for phone. And we can see here the type of field for phone number is phone number plus country. Before the update that I did, this is going to be set to just a phone number field. So all you need to do is change this to phone number plus country code and save your changes. So what that's going to do is it's going to change this field and prompt the member to select a country code and then put their phone number in. That takes care of that. The next thing we need to do is this. Let's go back to the review page. So this is the write a review form. And what webhooks do are when a form is filled out, it sends each piece of data into Zapier or Pabbly. So it's going to send the title, the member's ID, whose review it was, and so on. By default, it doesn't include the member, this sample member's phone number to use as a piece of data when we're doing the Zapier workflow logic. And we're going to get into that in a second. So in a nutshell, what we need to do, and I'll inspect this here so you guys can see, is we're going to add a hidden field. And we can see here, we're going to create a hidden field, and it's going to automatically input as part of this form the member's phone number. So this member's phone number is +1 and 424. This is that sample Google Voice number that we created. So this data will be sent when the review is submitted, and then in the Zapier workflow, we can select this number to be notified with an SMS text message that they have a review. So basically, it's the own member's phone number, and then in a future update, we're going to include this automatically, so you don't have to do this step. But for now, you guys can jump ahead if you wanted to take advantage of this and do this, not just for the write a review form, but custom forms or other forms as well that you want to utilize the webhook logic with. So what we do here is, this is the two-step process where it says create an HTML widget and then add the newly created widget to the write a review form. So let's do the create HTML widget first. So in the widget manager, and I've created the widget here, but we can do it again together. Let me click edit real quick and we'll do it again together. I'm going to copy this. This is the one line that you need to do. It's going to fetch the member's phone number, and then we're going to set it as a hidden field in that write a review form. So when you come to the widget manager, you're going to create a new widget and just give it a simple nickname like get member's phone number or whatever you need. This is just an internal nickname. And we're going to paste that line of code. Now this will, what's between the brackets will get the member's phone number, and I'm adding the plus sign in there. As David mentioned, for this to work, for an SMS to be sent, tools like Twilio really need an exact phone number. So that includes a plus sign, the country code, and the specific phone number. So I'll just go ahead and save changes. So now we have a widget that's going to get the member's phone number. So what we want to do is copy the shortcode. Now we want to add this widget into the write a review form, and that's the last step you need to do on your B website. So we'll go to Form Manager, and let me search for review. Let me put this here. So the review form, the write a review form, is called Listing Write Review. And what you'd want to do is customize it if you don't already have it customized, because we want to make a change to it. In this case, I've already customized it, but I'll repeat the steps that I took to add that hidden field. So we can see here that this is that hidden field I added right at the top there. What we can do is I'll add another one again, and this is that widget shortcode that we created, get member's phone number. So you want to add a field, and under the fancy fields, there is one for hidden field, and we'll just call it get member phone number. It doesn't really matter because it's going to be a hidden field. And you're going to want to open this cog, and this is the magic. What it's going to do is we're going to set a default value for this. So if a member has entered a phone number, this widget to get the member's phone number is going to fill the default value as with the member's phone number. I'll go ahead and save the changes. And actually now, because I've already done this once, I have two hidden fields doing the exact same thing. Let's actually go look at this form. Let's refresh the page. And if we look here, we have get member's phone number right there, and there's the phone number +1, and this is the one I had done before the webinar. I called it member phone number, so there it is right there. I'll delete one of these since we don't need both. So it seems like a lot, but we've really just modified 2 or 3 things on the Brilliant Directories website around forms. Okay, then you need to create a Twilio account. So twilio.com, and you can create a free account. So that would take care of the create a Twilio account and add funds step. Now the fun part, which happens on Zapier. This is where we're going to create a webhook and tie in your BD site with Twilio to send text messages to your members when they receive reviews. So if you're not familiar with Zapier, it's okay. You can watch those other videos we shared from our previous blog post, but really it's just a 3-step process. I'll go through this step by step, but just an overview. You create the webhook, that's step 1. Step 2 is we just check that the member the review has a phone number from the member, and that the review status is either pending or it's been published or accepted. Because if it's waiting for admin moderation, we don't really want to send those to the member because they can't see anything because it's waiting for the admin to moderate it. And then the last thing is, okay, what should we send to the member using the Twilio SMS services? So yeah, step 1 is we're going to choose what we want to do, the event. We want webhooks by Zapier. And the event is catch hook. I guess we'll go through this one more time. And that's it there, basically. Let me click on edit mode, excuse me. So choose an event. You're going to choose webhooks by Zapier. And it gives you 3 options for the event to happen: retrieve, pull, catch raw hook, or just catch hook. I don't know exactly the difference between catch raw hook and catch hook, but we need to select catch hook. That's basically going to get all the individual data points of the review, and then we can play with them with the Zapier tools here. Okay, and we don't have to do anything here. Pick off a child key. That's if you want to. It says here if you want to like grab a specific piece of data from this, you can do so. We don't need to do that in this case. We'll just continue. And then you can do some tests, but what you get is this URL here. So after you do these 2 steps, your webhook URL. So we copy this, and if we go to the Developer Hub, and we go to webhooks, and I'll search for review, we want to paste that in the webhook link. That's what it's for. You come to the webhook section of the Developer Hub, and you copy your webhook URL to there. And then you can do some tests. You can fill out the review form on your site, and it can see you can see what data it fetched, your IP number, the ratings overall 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. So we just did a test actually where we gave the member 2 stars. So we can actually see if we want to do another test to make sure the data came in. That was request I. We'll see 2 stars here. This is a webinar test, so we can see that the webhook is working properly. And we've decided to add like if statements because we really don't want this to fire every time. So we've created a filter, and let's check it out. So only continue if the review status is either 0 and the member phone number exists, or if the review status is 2 and the phone number exists. So what are the review statuses? Well, reviews can have several statuses. I'll share this link, which is from our documentation center. And there are several review statuses. A review can be pending, accepted, declined, or waiting for the admin. So we just want new reviews that are pending and accepted to be sent as text messages to the members. So I'll share a link to this article here, and it just gives you an overview on what you can do on the member reviews page in the interactions section of the admin. However, you can see the review statuses as they are as database values. In this case, pending is 0 and accepted equals 2. So we created just a little filter here that we only want to send text messages if these conditions are met. The review status is 0 and the member phone number exists, or the review status is 2 and the phone number exists. After that, we choose another action. We chose Twilio, and it asks you to sync and connect your Twilio account. It provides instructions for that, and we want to send an SMS number. You can even do a call phone. I guess that's pretty cool. So we're going to send an SMS and continue. And this is where it asks you to connect your account, which we've done. And now this is the magic. So when you set up a Twilio account, they're going to provide you with a kind of like a phone number for your text messages. I think they have services where you can choose the area code and things like that. We just did the quickie version, and it gave us the 850 area code. So when we do this drop down, it's the only option here. So this is automatically pulled from Twilio. So the phone number is there. Now, David and I played with this next one here, alphanumeric sender ID. In full transparency, we don't know what that is. We put some values in there and this stopped working. So for the sake of this webinar, our recommendation is to leave this blank. And who is the to number? Who's the number that is going to get the text messages? Well, when we added that hidden field into the write a review form, we added the member's phone number, the member who you're leaving a review for, their phone number as a hidden field. And now that becomes a data point of the webhook. So the webhook parses out all the information that was sent with the review, the user ID, that's the member who received the review, my IP address, the form that was submitted, the reviewer's name, the title, and that hidden field we created, the member phone number. So we select this and it's dynamic. So this is just from the example, but it will change. I guess you can put multiple phone numbers, David, there. Let me choose 2, but yeah, you could, I guess. In this case, just choose the field that was designated at the member's phone number. And here we wrote a custom message. Congrats, your profile received a new, and again, we were able to pull in a piece of data from the hook. In this case, we chose the overall rating. So you can do other things like expertise, language. We just chose this one here. And we can see it added it wherever the cursor was. I'll delete it. You received a new, and it's going to have the number there, in this case, 2-star rating on, and you can change this. You can say the JSON directory, whatever you want. Click to log in and see your reviews. So with this link here, and I guess, shorter messages are probably going to be better, but you can choose. But what we did here is we wanted to send the member into their account dashboard to the reviews page. So what we did is we took this link here. It's the same for every member, they just need to be logged into their account. It's account recommendations. And we used bit.ly. You can use Owly or any other URL shortener. And I'll just refresh this page. And I'll share a link to bit.ly. So just so it's a little shorter on the in the text message, we use the shortener here and we click shorten, and we're all familiar with this, and we can copy this. So now this will be the shorter URL that I used in the text message here. And then we added this ourselves, reply stop to opt out. So Twilio automatically sending these SMS text messages. If they receive a stop reply back, they will no longer send future text messages using that service from your account to the member. So that's just a courtesy there for everyone. We added this ourselves. The media URL, we also got kind of tricked up with this. We did put the link to the website here, and that kind of broke things. So again, I'm not familiar with what the media URL is exactly right now. So we left this blank, and that is basically it. The from number is automatically selected from Twilio. We left the alphanumeric sender ID blank. The to number is the data point from the webhook. That's the member's phone number that was in the hidden field we created. We created a short message here with a shortened link here using bit.ly. And that was it. We can press continue, and we can do review and test. And everything worked out great. If I come back here, I just received the other text messages. So I've been talking for about 20 minutes here from 4:22 to 4:41, and I received the same message here. But this will work for all your members who have valid phone numbers there. Did I skip anything, David, again? I'm just really worried that we rushed over something, or I'm sure that people will have questions here.
No, I think you covered everything. We did get one good question. They asked what happens if a member put in a landline phone number. That's a really good question. Most of the time, the text message, it'll just disappear into the ether. It won't be delivered or received. However, some landline carriers do support text to landline messaging. So if that applies, the member's phone will ring, and when they pick it up, the text message will be read aloud to them through a text-to-speech program. So really not something to worry about. However, if you really, really want to make sure you're sending these messages to mobile phone numbers, I guess you could edit the contact details form, add a new field specifically asking the members for a mobile phone number, and then just capture the input for that field and send that over to Twilio in the webhook.
Hi, David. I also wanted to mention here in Twilio, you can go to the monitor section, and under messaging, you can see the status of the text messages that were sent. And we had a failed one in the beginning, and it gives you a little alert here. So, it can very well be that the person didn't enter a valid phone number, or it's a landline, or it's missing the country code, or something else. So there will be a percentage of members who don't get the text messages, but you're not going to be charged for those probably, and there's no harm, no foul. They're still receiving the email, I guess, from the website. So that's basically, in a nutshell, this is just one example of how to use the webhooks, specifically SMS alerts, and how your website can better connect with your members, and more importantly, bring them back to your site. So with that said, we can take some questions. I do see some hands up. We'll take some questions either about this topic or anything about your Brilliant Directories website. And we can start here with our good friend, Rich.
Hey, Jason.
How's it going today?
Great. Yeah, this looks awesome. As always, you guys are ahead of the curve here, and thank you so much for making these features happen. Specifically on the country code. So while you were doing the webinar, I went through my site, and we do have members internationally. Many times they do put in their country code. So then if we change the form with the country code, that could be potentially problematic.
So here's how we turn a problem into an opportunity, actually. Yeah. So the worst case scenario is they're not going to get the text message. That's right. The worst case scenario. So what you can do is you can email your entire community and let them know to come and update their phone number, because now you'll be supporting the option to send them SMS text messages so they can get more real-time responses. So that will, one, encourage people to come to your site, makes it seem like there's, your site's developing new features, right. And it will ensure that people are coming back and putting in, phone numbers in the correct formats and things like that. All right, good stuff there from Rich, as always. We got a really good friend, Neil, here. How you doing, Neil?
Doing good. How's it going today?
Pretty good, Neil. How's everything with you?
Love this stuff. Having kittens here today, reading or seeing the stuff about SMS going on. So that's awesome.
Nice.
My question is, I would think that this isn't very, this is about a one step away from being able to do this on leads as well, leads forms?
Correct.
Send out SMS?
Yes, you can. It would be when the lead form is on the member's profile page, a direct lead. You can do this exact same thing for leads.
That's huge.
Yep, I agree with you. So it would be on leads that are sent directly to a member, not on, like, if you have a landing page and then it auto matches it with whichever members match that. So yeah, because this way in this field, right. Because in this way, we can add that hidden field with the member's phone number.
That is huge.
SMS too.
I mean, that is a huge value add right there for those members. So thank you.
I agree. This is all making me think is, I made a card for the team so you can skip the step of creating the widget, adding the field to the form. The member's phone number soon will eventually be automatically sent with their user ID. It's going to include their first name, last name, company name, and phone number, so you can bypass all the steps that we shared on the BD site. You can just go into Zapier and the Zapier workflow and just go there. Same with leads.
Yeah, because I usually follow up a little bit to see if they got the email that they got a new lead, especially a new person. And most of the time they're like, I got what? What did I get? I don't understand. But if they get a text message, I mean, that's just, that's great.
Right, and then I guess the one hurdle is they get a text messages. I don't know if people are normally logged into the site on their phones, but if you can get over that hurdle, you don't have to link to even log into their account. Maybe you link to their profile page where they can see all their reviews. Just anything to bring them back to the site with that link in the text.
Well,
message.
I mean, you might be able to push the data of the lead to the person through the text message. You probably could.
Yeah, you can. That will be available in the web. That is available in the webhook, so you can do an instant connection a live connection there, right? The phone number, the email of the person. If they don't need to purchase the lead, if it's a free lead, you can just share all that in the text message right away with the member.
Oh, correct. Yeah, that's true.
Right? Or the preview of the lead. If they have to pay for it, you give them the little snippets, and then they can log in to purchase the lead and the contact information.
Right on. Okay, well, thanks, guys. Good stuff.
All right, Neil. Always love you joining the webinar. Thank you.
Take care.
All right, good stuff there by Neil. All right, got a good friend, Brad. How you doing, Brad?
Good, how are you doing?
Pretty good. Thanks for joining the webinar today.
Okay, so this isn't my question, but just a quick little add on that previous thing. You said you're updating the card for the lead webhook, to include name and the other account info. I'm pretty sure the lead webhook does not include the lead ID right now, so maybe you could add that on there. So just a FYI.
I will check for you. Include the specific the ID of the lead, right? Not the
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, because we send it into Pipedrive in our CRM, and we really want that lead ID like in the subject so we can easily find it. But last time I checked a few weeks ago, I think it still wasn't there. So,
gotcha. Okay.
So here is why I raised my little virtual hand, and hopefully this isn't too big of an ask, but I think it's a pretty cool idea. See what you think about it. Because we have multiple licenses with you. I think we have 12. And so a lot of times when we're making updates across our sites, we have to log into each 12 sites and, do them individually. So maybe have like a option for like make the widgets global, so like any sites that are assigned with an email address, you could like click off to like have that widget be available to these other site IDs. So is that something that's possible, or is that just with the way that your system is designed, would that be too hard to do?
Yeah, so I will look into that. I don't know, because each site is kind of independent, but you kind of want to share widgets or copy widgets to sites you own. Right? Ideally, share the widget so you don't have to, or I guess you can update if you can push the update to all the sites. I understand it's like a passport functionality or a global functionality for the sites you own.
Yeah, because we go and so is another question for because how I came up with this idea is we needed to update, block a certain keyword in the spam thing, and I know that's not a widget, but could you put a widget in there that would, you store all the keywords in the widget, and then you put the widget in the keyword, and then I was thinking, well, if it was shared, I would only have to do that once across all sites and so forth.
True. I believe the text labels and the advanced settings do support widgets, like widget equals the short code. So yeah, that you can test it out, but I believe that would work. And then if you could share it across your sites, I mean, we would consider you like a power user with that many sites and those updates. So Matt just texted me. He's watching the webinar on YouTube, but he said something we can look into. Sharing your widgets across sites that you own and things like that.
Yeah, wouldn't expect that to get it done next week or anything, but I thought it was a cool idea. It'd make our lives a lot easier. So,
well, it might not be hard as we think, because what I'm thinking is this. What we could do is under the actions, we could add another, like I'm just thinking out loud here, is add a like share with my other sites button, something to that effect, and you'd get a pop-up and it would ask you to either update or add this widget, and then you can checkbox your sites and it would push it to sites that you are specifically the owner of.
Yeah, exactly. And then I know you guys use a lot of developers, and so who knows, maybe that would be a way that developers could share widgets with their clients, but maybe you don't want to do that, but that's a decision for you guys to make. But like I was thinking, like any BD accounts that are assigned to like your email address, it would automatically pull in, and you could like check them off which ones you'd want to share it with or something. So, but I'm sure you guys have more ideas beyond that.
Well, this is how ideas get created. Your great suggestions. Matt's chatting with me. He said the actions option is probably the best method to go about that. Push to my sites or something button, and then you choose add or update, and it will either add or update the widgets to the other sites you check off that you own. So
cool. Thank you.
Cool. Well, thanks, Brad, for joining the webinar.
Yep.
All right, good stuff there. Great suggestion there. We'll go with Patrick.
Hey, Jason, thanks for having me.
Oh, of course. Where are you calling in from?
Windsor, Ontario, Canada.
All right. All right. Thanks for joining. What's your question for us today?
I like what you're doing about like using the API and webhooks to bring data into BD. But I was just wondering, will there ever be something simple like just bringing a CSV file in, kind of like we have for members? Like I just want to do updates for events and properties, and I just wanted it to be something simple, not have to go to a third-party site or anything like that.
I'm with you. Probably what's going to happen is the reason we're starting with members as the first kind of import method is because we have the structure that's following the model of the CSV import. So when we create the import functionality for reviews, leads, and posts, we will probably first also need to create the method as a CSV import and what that template file would look like. So I think a lot of those are going to be like a domino effect. You'll be able to use tools like Zapier or have something in Google Sheets and zap it in, or Pabbly, or you'll be able to, because it's based on CSV file into your site, is we'll have the ability to have CSV import files for things like your member reviews, leads, and data posts. So I would see, if I'm correct, I think they would go hand in hand, and we would almost release them at the same time, those things.
Okay, so there will be both then.
I don't want to say 100%, but I assume there will be, because the logic to port information in all starts with a CSV file. So I don't see why we wouldn't include a CSV import for those other areas of the admin, such as reviews, leads, and posts.
Okay, great. Thank you very much.
Yeah. All right, you're welcome.
Okay.
Good question there. All right, we've got a good friend, Jeff. Good morning, Jeff. How you doing?
Good, thanks. Just a question with regard to some members may not want the text message, and you have an opportunity of actually charging them a little bit extra on their membership if they were going to get a text message. How can you arrange that so you could turn the individual members off or on from receiving the webhook?
Great idea there. And as you're talking, the ideas are coming to me. What you could do, and actually, Rich, this might be one for you, is you might want to have two phone number fields. A phone number field that's their normal one on the website, and instead of changing it, add one called phone number for SMS text messages. So if they don't want it, they can just keep it empty or not include it for the membership plans, Jeff, that don't get it. But basically have like phone number on my profile and phone number for SMS. Actually, that's probably the better thing to do, Rich, now that I'm thinking about it, and Jeff, is just having a second field called phone number to receive SMS text messages from the website, and just put a little help text below it like this on what that means. And then use that field as the hidden field that's submitted with the reviews and the leads. So either a member can clear it, not include it, or you don't have to include that on certain membership plans, that field in their contact details form.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, it's a good idea. Thank you.
Yeah, I think so too. So yeah, I take back the whole webinar. Instead of changing the phone number field, I would just add a new field called SMS phone number and just put a little explanation of what that means, and people can leave it blank. They can input the same phone number, and they don't have to change the existing phone number that they've inputted on the site. So a few workarounds there. Just depends how you want to kind of navigate this when you push it to your site. All right, we got George's got his hand back up. He's activated with us. George, how you doing today?
Good evening, Jason, everyone over there. Great webinar again, as always. I'm calling from Saskatchewan, Canada here. I have a question. Like, for instance, say I have some people that are, say, selling tires or something, and we get a lead. Someone wants to buy these tires. Is there a way that they could contact them directly, and then they could interact and meet up and sell the tires?
Yeah, that's actually encouraged, is once the website makes the connection between a lead or a visitor that's trying to reach out to a member and fills out the form, is for the member and the lead or the visitor to continue communications with each other. So as Neil was suggesting, if you're giving these leads for free and they don't have to pay for it, you could send the information directly in a text message or just make it available immediately to the member and say, hey, contact this person. They're interested in your tires, or whatever the title of the post is, or whatever they're selling. Yeah, so certainly, you can encourage your members and the visitor to connect with each other as quickly as possible.
Oh, so basically, you're still the middleman. You still have to reach out to the member or the buyer to connect them, eh?
Well, if the phone number, if the seller puts their phone number on the site, then the visitor could pick up the phone and just call them directly. That's going to be available. Email addresses are not recommended to be public on a site. That encourages scraping, and that really is the sensitive information of your members. So that's why that lead form, that contact form, is there on your members' profile page, so visitors can fill in that form, and that message is sent to your members, and you can encourage them to then follow up with that lead, as quickly as possible.
I see. Well, great. Well, thank you very much, then.
All right. Yeah, thank you for the question. Yeah, well, what we've learned is, and we see sites that, their main goal is really just, it's a marketplace. It's connecting visitors or consumers with professionals and service providers. And usually that's where the website's service stops, and everyone's very happy. The businesses are getting leads, the visitors are getting their requests filled. So it's a nice little ecosystem there. All right, let's see. We don't have any more hands up, which is fine. We're just about past that time. Do we have any typed in questions here, David, that we should address before we end the webinar here?
We do have one by William. He says, why isn't the second phone number SMS already in database? I guess maybe he's referring to, if you add a second phone number field, you would have to attribute a database variable to that, and then the webhook would then be able to grab that variable.
Yeah, what's cool about BD is you can edit these forms, and you can ask for any type of information. What's your hair color, your shoe size, what's your favorite color, things like that. And you can also ask them to enter an alternate phone number where they would like to receive SMS text messages. And in the little help description here, you can just tell them you can enter the same number as your phone number, or enter a different number where you receive text messages, because their main phone number might be the landline. So you can encourage them to enter a cellular phone or smartphone where you receive text messages. It might be different than the landline, which might be the brick and mortar shop's phone, whereas the owner might have a cell phone that's where they want to receive text messages. So I think that's actually pretty smart if you're going to start doing SMS text messages, is have the two fields and let people decide if they want to put the same phone number or different phone numbers for the phone number that's public on their profile versus the SMS phone number that's going to be used for one-to-one communications between the website and the business as alerts and notifications come in. And as Neil pointed out, and in this example, we did it for member reviews, but this can certainly be used for member leads, also chat messages, the private chat messages, and other types of interactions that visitors can have with members through your site via filling out a form to reach out to them.
One last question unrelated to webhooks, a pretty good one from Evie. She's saying some of her members do have physical locations, others are fully remote and don't have physical locations. So how does she make sure that is accurately reflected in her members' profiles and the website search? I guess the easiest way to do that would just be to think about locations more as service areas. So if somebody's fully remote, but they're servicing American clients or customers, maybe just set their location as United States, and then they would show up in search results for United States locations.
Right, they can, let's do that together real quick, actually. If I just, where are you located? You can also change where it says, where are you located? You can say, if you have a physical address, enter, or you can change this to say, what location is your address, or where would you like to be found? And people could just type United States. Yeah, you can make this an optional field. There is also a setting where if you're looking at your members, Evie has a good question. Members can be listed in all locations. If you do the quick edit, you as the website owner, under listing settings for a specific member, you can list someone in all locations. So they would show up for any location search on the site. And if it's a keyword and a category that's also searched plus a location, then they would also have to match the keyword and category, but the location wouldn't matter because they are listed in all locations. What we've seen some people do is they've taken this admin only setting, and just as we showed, you can add custom fields to the forms. They've added this field. It's called nationwide, and the values are either 0 or 1. And they've added this field and let the members choose if they want to be worldwide or listed in all locations. Obviously, the more locations that they're listed in, the more visibility they're going to have on your site, and that might not be the best experience for a visitor or for members to kind of have their listing in all locations. It takes away from the other members who actually specifically serve those locations, but there certainly are options here. If you want to ask in the Facebook group, Evie, also, because it is an interesting topic, it does come up from time to time. It's only an online business. They serve, an international market. So there are ways for members to designate themselves as listed in all locations and to skip entering an address. So good question there, Evie. And yeah, so great tip of the week. Thank you, David, for putting this together. After this webinar, we got some great suggestions from you guys. We're going to work so we can totally eliminate the first step here of what to do on your BD site and just have that available in the webhook data. And let's backtrack here. I know we went over a few things rather quickly. This webinar was streaming on YouTube Live, and we'll post the replay in the Facebook group in the next 15 to 20 minutes. You can go to brilliantdirectories.com/Facebook, and you can access the webinar replay there, as well as leave your comments, suggestions, and your feedback. We love hearing from you guys. So on behalf of myself, David, and the entire Brilliant Directories family, thank you guys so much for joining us today. It's been wonderful. The next webinar will be in 2 weeks. We will see you then. Have a great day and a brilliant week. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.